Everybody at some point in their life has heard of deja vu. And the majority of people within their life will experience it at some point in time, whether it's through their own personal experience or somebody telling them a story of the time they had it, something they read, whatever. Almost everybody will have some encounter with deja vu. Now, let's say for some reason you've never heard of deja vu, you're a liar, first off. But second, deja vu is essentially when you have had some prior vision or knowledge or experience with a certain event, topic, phrase, whatever. Essentially, something has happened to you before that when it didn't actually happen. It normally happens in the form of a dream. And then later on in life, it happens and you get hit with the memory of, oh, I've seen this before. And that is what deja vu is. Now, deja vu, if you're anything like me, it is weirdly common. For me, deja vu happens normally on a really small scale. It'll be like a conversation that I have with my family, or a text I get or receive, or just something that happens in everyday life. But it's never really something that's like really not necessarily existential, but something that feels really strange, right? But that's not always the case. And the story I have for you today is actually just that. It is this really bizarre deja vu moment that had been built up for years of my life. So, this story goes back in time. Honestly, it goes back to around the start of high school. So, when I was about 13, 14 years old. And this whole dream started with me walking out into the field behind my house. It has a little, like, go up a little hill, and then there's some woods behind my house, and then this little field. Now, in my lifetime, I had never gone on the other side of the field because somebody had lived in the house. That's when I was awake. But I would have this dream, and I would walk out into the field, and you know how dreams are. I was just teleported to just like this random oasis in the middle of the woods. I'd walk through the trees, then all of a sudden it would just be like this little grove where it'd be no trees, but the trees would have like a wall around it almost, and just in the middle would just be this place. It was just so peaceful. It was like time stood still. And what was really specific about this was there it was this little cabin. It was this little wooden cabin, and there were cats there. Weirdly enough, every cat that lived there was a black cat. Just a normal black cat, not like witchcraft or anything like that. It wasn't anything spooky to that extent, or it wasn't black cats and like to the point of it supposed to be like spooky is what trying to get at. They're just predominantly black cats. Some were black and white, some were black and gray. And I remember I would walk into it, and it was like a house. And whenever I would walk into that house in the dream, I'd get hit with a sense of, like, this is home. This is peaceful, right? And I would always remember that this is through this little portal in the woods from where my house is. Now, that would be a dream I would have, like I said, at like the start of high school. So I was about 14, 15 years old. But then I would stop having that dream. I stopped having that dream for about a year or two, and I would have the dream maybe like once a month for about that year. Then a couple years later, I had the dream again. I was like, this is really familiar. And again, it was the same dream. I would go back, and it would just be like the scene on repeat, on repeat, on repeat. I'd go back, and there'd be the cats, and it would be this house. And then one time, I had this dream again. And this time it was a little bit different. There was a little bit more to this dream. It started out with my parents taking me to this house that they just bought. I don't know how it happened, but they had come under great wealth in this dream. And they bought this really nice house, and they were really proud. And they were showing me around, and they showed me to this room. And they're like, oh, this is your room. Like, that's your bed. You used to sleep in that bed. And, like, this is your home. I remember thinking, I was like, no. Like that weird dream state. I was like, no, this is not like this isn't home. Like this isn't my home. Like that's not my bed. That's just where I sleep. I like that. Something about this just wasn't right. And the dream, like it wasn't like a nightmare, but like it wasn't right. I could tell you like that wasn't home. That wasn't peaceful. It just didn't sit right with me. And I remember leaving and walking out of that nice house that they just got in this dream. And I walked back to my old house, right? And I remember whenever I got to the house, I walked through the woods and I got back, and I was at the point in time, my parents were visibly older. I could like see myself in the third person, and I could tell I was visibly older. And I went back to that house, and I was thinking, man, I haven't been here in forever. There's no way either this house is still here. It's like there's no way everything's gonna be fine. I was like, the cats, they're gonna be long gone, all of that. And then I remember I walked in the door of the house in the woods, and I look down on the floor, and there's just this fluffy black cat, and it looks up, and it stands up, and it starts walking up to me. Like, there's no way this cat is still alive after this long. It's literally like, it was like this place was magic. House stood still, or time stood still at this house. Now, remember, this house I've been referring to is in the dream I have. These dreams have been happening over the course of like 4, 5, 6 years. And then the dream ended. And I was like, okay. I was like, I found home again in the dream, and I was at peace, and the dream was over. Now let's fast forward about a year after that. So I graduated high school at this point. So when the dream first started happening, I was like, let's say I was just like 14 years old. And then fast forward to when I'm a freshman in college. So I was 18 years old still at the time. And me and my parents just decided to go walk across the field in our backyard. And we'd always known there's this house on the other side of the field, but because somebody lived there, we never really walked around because, like it was somebody's house. We didn't want to be rude and just walk through the property. Well, about a year or two before this point in time, the lady that had the house had passed away. And that house just sat back there. And we knew the family of the lady that lived back there. And my parents actually knew the lady in the house. And she was a really nice old lady. So one day, we decided we were going to go walk back there and just see the property. And the whole reason we were going to do this was because we told the family we would go check it out and make sure, nobody like vandalized the house or that the grass wasn't getting too overgrown. And one thing we would do is we would go and we would feed the horse that they had back there. So we decided we were going to walk back there as a family one day, and we walked through the woods, and I got hit with the scene from my dream of walking through the woods. I was like, okay, that's weird. I haven't had this dream in a while, but I just got like that flashback to the memory. That's when the deja vu started. And then we walked across the field, and we started walking down this gravel road. And then there it was. It was like the entrance was trees on either side, and it had like these pillars. I was like, wait a minute, this is really familiar. And again, I got this flashback to the dream of walking up to the house originally through the trees, and when I first saw it. And remember how I said there is a black cat at the house in the dream? When we were walking there, they were like, oh, something's walking. I look up and I see this black cat. It just appears literally just like almost out of nowhere and starts walking towards the house. And it's just like the dream's like, wait a minute, that's just like the I saw in the dream. This is just like the entrance to the house I saw in the dream. And this house literally sits in the woods just like the one in my dream. And we're sitting there walking, and as we walk up to the house, the cat, it just kind of vanishes. It's not like it vanishes in the thin air, but it walked around and it was just gone. Like literally, I saw the cat and I was so like fixated on the cat in the dream. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Now all I could think of was the dream that would happen. And like I said, we walked up to it, and then I realized like this is the house from my dream. And that was the cat from my dream that I had been having over the course of like the last 4 or 5 years. So it was just this weird, crazy deja vu moment, and it's still back there. And I remember walking around the property, and it was like time stood still. It was so peaceful, and I just felt really at peace there. And I like to this day I don't really know what it is, but like this house that I live in right now is what I consider my home. And it's weird because across the field is that place that I saw in my dream, that weird deja vu experience for years that made me feel like I was at peace, like I was at home. Like I said, I have no idea what that means, but that was like my biggest, like weirdest deja vu moment I've ever had. Anyway, I hope you enjoy that story. I don't really know what else to do with that. But like that, it's just weird dream. Like I have a lot of weird dreams, and I'm gonna tell these stories. So if you've ever experienced any weird, spooky, supernatural, deja vu type moments like that, let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, hit that like button. And if you do, you should also leave a comment and tell me, like, what's your favorite color? Let's just completely mess with the YouTube algorithm if you watch this. And just comment your favorite color as well as any weird, spooky stories you have had. Anyway, guys, hope you liked the video. Hope you have a wonderful day. Peace.